Time for oral questions. Member from Halton.
Thank you. My question is to the Minister of Economic Development. Last Friday, StatsCan announced that November alone, Ontario lost 66,000 jobs, raising the unemployment rate by over 0.5% to 7.1%, and making Ontario's unemployment rate almost a full percentage higher than the national average. In Quebec, a manufacturing economy like ours, they broke even. Everywhere in Confederation, losses were mild, but under your watch, Ontario was plunged into a severe employment crisis. You have 4 days left before the long break. Minister, what immediate action will you take to make Ontario competitive again?
Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. And, the federal finance minister, I think, referred to those numbers as devastating. I agree. Those unemployment numbers are very, very tough on the families affected, and especially this time of the year, that those families who have either faced layoffs or fear layoffs. It's very, 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 very difficult time. We do have, as the member alluded to, a situation where Quebec and Ontario are sharing the same unemployment level. In part, that's a function of the fact that the industries that dominate in Ontario and Quebec have been particularly hard hit by the global economic crisis. This is the case not only in Ontario, it's the case with respect to the manufacturing industry in China and Southeast Asia and around the world. But obviously, these numbers are nothing but...
Q. Supplementary.
Speaker, it's too bad that there's no sense of urgency on this government to act. Yes, we understand the problem. The minister understands the problem. But he has failed. He defends the policies of his predecessor, the failed policies of his predecessor. And I don't understand why. This minister has been in place now for some period of time. Is he too timid to introduce his own changes? Let's talk about one failed jobs program, in particular, the much-touted Next Generation of Jobs Fund, which invests taxpayers' money into individual businesses, a reckless strategy that is consistently called unwise by economic experts. Nonetheless, you have slated $1.5 billion for this program. So after 1 year, how is it working out? You have spent $27 million of that total $1.5 billion, or 0.03%. You have created an estimate 167 jobs with 3 companies. Minister, is this the McGuinty economic plan?
Sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And we had a very interesting concession by the member who, to be fair, is admitting his view and the view of his party and of the official opposition, which is that they oppose governments investing dollars in companies or in industries in order to leverage greater investment, in order to leverage greater jobs. That's why when we brought in the Next Generation of Jobs Fund, the Conservatives voted against it. So, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we believe in these investments as being, in fact, the way in which we are going to grow our economy, and particularly during this troubled time. And I say to the member, as I stood at the opening of the plant for Toyota last Thursday, there were literally thousands of people cheering for the investments that this government had made to create.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
You have invested money in the auto industry, and the auto industry has continuously laid off programs. Small business is the core of this province's job creation, and you have invested nothing with small business in Ontario. Nothing. And that's where a lot of your problems are coming from. This House is set to rise and not return for another 2 months or more, with thousands more jobs set to disappear during that time. Minister, you need to make some decisions now, and it's about your wants and needs. Ontario needs some decisions right now, not your wants that you want to continue to spend money recklessly. And now is the time you have to start leading by example. No more fancy hotels, no more expensive conference rooms, no more waste, period. When you save taxpayers. It's just that simple. We outlined last week in question after question the waste this government has gone through. Will you cut back your luxurious spending and use that money for a new jobs plan, Minister? Will you try to help our unemployed and vulnerable?
Minister.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, on the one hand, Mr. Speaker, the member says that we should be, in fact, cutting public spending and then taking that money and putting it into the jobs plans, Mr. Speaker. The jobs plans, Mr. Speaker, that in the previous question he said he's against. And this is the approach of the Conservatives. They want to cut and they want to spend. They want to cut and they want to spend. What we're going to do, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House is, in fact, take...
The honourable member, you just asked the question. I'd ask that you listen to the response, please.
Mr. Speaker, we are going to take the hard-earned tax dollars of the people of Ontario. We are going to make sure that every single dollar that's invested is a positive investment. But we will invest it in order to create, in fact, millions of dollars of additional investment and thousands of jobs. That has been our plan, that is our plan, and that will be our plan in the future, and that will mean more jobs for the province of Ontario.